So in the last session, we had gone through um, particularly, yes, it'll be in the app. I'll confirm the same. Right, so going ahead, let us start with the very basics of this. Now, we had done a few pseudocode and C-based questions earlier today morning. Let us continue the same even now. So let us start with this. To begin with, let us start with one simple question again, which was asked this time as well. I will share all of these together. I'm uh, collecting all of them in a single document. Once I do, I will share all of them together. So if you observe this, just take a minute, think through this. Can you just let me know what could possibly be the output just by observing this? I've got two answers. I'm waiting for any other answer if anybody can send it. So, all right. A should have, yes, I've got one correct answer finally. So here's what happens in this program. If you try this out, you have a variable X where you're storing A. Now, if you remember back, can I store int X equals A? Can I do this? Can I store something with an int like int X equals A like this? Can I do this? My first question. Okay, if I do this, what will be the value of X? If I do this, what will be the value of X? 97. Absolutely correct. So same way, instead of storing it in int, all I'm doing here is just using float X equals, in single quotation, I'm writing A. If I do this, in this case, what will be the value of X? Will it give me an error? My first question, because many people said it gives an error, will it give me an error here? It won't give me an error because this A, whatever I have, gets converted to its number 97 and gets stored here. This is what happens. Now, when it is in 97 and gets stored here, here's exactly what happens. Float, we know that it is a number followed by 6 decimals. It is number followed by 6 decimals. So here, when I'm storing it as 97, it is 97 followed by 6 decimals, which should all be zeros. So it's going to have 97 followed by 6 zeros. Let us see if it's correct. If you observe this, it's exactly 97 followed by 6 zeros. This is just one question, again, from basics. All of these were, see, if it is, okay, nice question. If it is double, then how many zeros? For double, you need to print it as LD. Let's see if it works. So I'm going in a completely different way here. So yeah, you're getting the same. But if I do LF, will it change? This is a question I'll ask you all. Will it change if I do it as LF? So I'm getting different answers. I'm getting different answers. Let's try. You're getting the same. It doesn't seem like there's a difference. It does not matter whether you do percentage uppercase LF or percentage, sorry, uppercase LF does not work in this case. I should use back to I should go back to use a different compiler. But just remember, percentage LF in lowercase, it's going to print as it is. So this is one problem with this compiler. So it is something issue with the based on compiler, but you are supposed to get different number of zeros based on this, and I will share possibly the same as a separate program later on, so that you get to understand the difference, so that it is very clear and easy to understand. So let us instead go ahead from here to a slightly different program, which was also asked as a pseudocode this time. Instead of this, you have, if you observe this, you pretty much know that it is a, how do I say, you pretty much know that it's, but double return 12 after decimal. Yes, that is correct. This is the problem with the compiler that I have. In a different compiler, it does. So do not worry about that. So let us get back to this. Let's say I go for this particular pseudocode to continue ahead with. I have something like integer a comma c. See, don't get confused when you see pseudocode. In pseudocode, you may have certain different points. In pseudocode, you may have certain different, how do I say, topics or certain different keywords. So don't worry about keywords changing in this. That is not to be worried about. Here, if you write char ch, let's say equals, let me make it as t, and let me give one more variable c equals 0. That is, this integer variable c is 0. Do not get worried like it is integer not int, that means it's an error or something like that. Not to worry about something like that. Now all that we are doing here is, so if you observe this, can you let me know what could possibly be the output? Observe this, try it out, and let me know what could possibly be the output. This is a simple, easy program. This was asked as a pseudocode this time as well. It is way too easy and way too simple. I don't think I even should explain this. I don't think I should explain it at all. All that you're stating is, okay, since a lot of you did get a wrong answer, let me just explain it very quickly by not taking up too much time. If you observe this, you have a string. The string is called test string, and you have an integer variable a and c, and c value, okay, let me close this, and c value is usually 0. A, it does not matter for us now, c is 0, and we have one character whose value is t. Now t occurs here exactly 3 times. That is something we need to know. It occurs here exactly 3 times. Now in our case, c is initially 0. Let us start this for loop. Here's how it works. For each a value from 0 till the length of the text. So for each a value from 0 till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's say 9. Till length of the text, till I reach up to 9 for each of the character, for each index. A starts from 0 till length of character. Length of character is 10 till A reaches 10. We are checking text of A. Text of A is, if A is 0, text of 0 will be this. If A is 1, text of A will be this. If A is 2, text of A will be this, and so on. A will keep on changing. So all we are checking here is if text of A is equal to the character that we are searching. The character we are searching is T. So for the first time we do this, it is equal to T. A is 0. So text of 0, which is the first character, is equal to CH. Both are T. Since both are T, you can just print it as C equals C plus 1. Essentially, you can just print it as, you can just increase C to 1 here. That is done. After this, the next thing, A now increases to 1. Now check if text of 1 is equal to T. It is not. So increase A to 2. Check if that is equal to T. Not true. Increase it to 3. Check if that is equal to T. It is equal. So now increase C. So C becomes 2. So likewise, when it goes to the third T, C becomes 3. So T occurs here 3 times, C becomes 3. Once it is 3, now you're ending the if after the entire string is done. You're ending the for loop also, and you're checking if C greater than 0. Of course, C is greater than 0. So you're printing the value of C, which is supposed to be 3. That is all. So your output is should just be 3 in short. Is this easy and clear now? Because I don't think this was difficult at all for any of us to solve. But still, since a few had doubts in this, is this now easy to solve? Particularly for Shreyas, Drushti, and everyone else. Is this easy to solve? You can let me know. Perfect. So now let us go for one more pseudocode that was asked. Just one line code. This is it. Now, what do you think will happen here? Before this, are you familiar with ternary operators? Before solving this, let me ask one question. Are you familiar with ternary operators? I think everyone who has attended our previous sessions are. Those who haven't, are you familiar with ternary operators? So those who are not familiar with ternary operators, just observe this in short. Ternary operators works like this. A question mark, B colon C, where A is a condition and B is the true statement, C is the false statement. If this condition A is true, it will execute B. If this condition A is false, it will execute C. That is the whole scenario. A is the condition. If it is true, it executes B. If it is false, it executes C. So now let me try this. Something like 10 greater than 5. Consider this as 10. 10 greater than 5. Let me give a condition like 10 greater than 5. Question mark 100 colon 200. Now this condition is true. Since this condition is true, whatever is after question mark and before colon, that executes. If the condition was false, 10 greater than 50, it is false. Then it goes after colon, whatever is there, that executes. This is basically how it works. Now, our question is like this. Can you observe this and let me know what could possibly happen? Let me put it in the main function here. So some of you are saying it is 1, some of you are saying it is 5, some of you are saying there is no condition. So to understand this, see, if I write just this much, is it now like a ternary operator? Now let me ask, if I write just this much, is it now like a ternary operator? If I just write this much, what is the output here? Let me ask a simple question to begin with. This looks like a ternary operator, yes. What is the output in this one? Remember, observe this clearly. 10 is the condition, 1 is if it is true, 12 if it is false. So condition itself is 10. Now remember, this is supposed to be condition, question mark, true, colon, false. Now, in place of condition, I have 10. Now, is 10 0 or non-zero? It's non-zero. So if it is non-zero, what does it tell you about the condition? Since 10 is non-zero, what does it tell you about the condition? Condition is true. So here, since condition is true, this essentially now becomes true. That's why whatever isn't true, that will execute. So the output here will be 1. So if you execute this, output is 1. Now in our program, instead of this, you had this. Here, can I say there is one ternary operator within another ternary operator like this? Can I say this? Can I put the inner ternary operator in brackets by myself? Can I call it like this? Here, it's like this. So instead, can I make inner ternary operator? Let us try to see what happens here. This condition here is 0. 0 means it is false. If it is false, it executes the last part. So this whole ternary operator will be replaced by the last part 1. Now 10 is true. Since it is true, it executes the true part. So this was our question. Let us see it if it executes 1. You're getting the output as 1. So that is the output here. So this was also one of the questions. Again, these are kinds of questions that you may expect. Today and tomorrow we will only go through C. Followed by C, we will then learn C++ and then go for Java. So let us get back to this. Now, okay, nice question. Let me make this. What if I change that 0 to -1? What would happen here? Is it still 1? Think through and let me know. See, if you solve the outer one first, output won't remain the same. Always you should solve inner one first. That is what we have learned. So I'm getting different answers. 5 is the most common answer. Let us try. Let us compile and let us execute. I'm getting 5. That is because execute the inner one first. This is -1. -1 means it is non-zero. Since it is non-zero, it is true. Since it is true, it will return 5 over here. Now I have 10 question mark 5 colon 12. This is true part and this is false part. So the true part will execute. So the output will be 5 itself. So this is one sort of question you may expect as well. So let us go ahead from here to possibly a different kind of question that we expect in this again. Now, this is a simple one. This is again something we have already done. Most of these things, those who have attended our 30-hour session, we have pretty much done most of these. So let me read n. Let me set an integer I equals 2 while I less than n. So this is the question, and this is the program in the question, and the question is which line has an error? Which line? If this was the pseudocode, identify mistake is in which line. So this is line 1, line 2, line 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, yeah, this is integer. That, see, do not worry about these things. Okay, now give it a try. It's not line 2, it was supposed to be integer itself. Now think through. Take one small example. Take one small example by yourself and see, just try what happens here. Take a number by yourself and let me know. So I'll wait for a minute. I need your responses so you all can let me know what could possibly happen. Okay, so I've got different cases. So let us try this. To understand this, let us take an example by ourselves, because only one of you got the output so far. So let us try it out. So here, if I start this, let's say we read a number like 15. Let us assume I read a number. First, let me read an even number. Let's say 14. If I read the number 14, first you have read the number 14, you have set I is equal to 2. That is clear. Let's say n equals 14, I is equal to 2. Now, the moment I equals to, we are checking if I less than n. We know this is how we find out whether a number is prime or not. We start dividing that by that number by every number lesser than it. From 2 to 13 is what divided by. So condition I less than n is true. Now let us go within this. If n is divisible by I, let us try 14 divisible by 2. Yes, 14 is divisible by 2. So since it is divisible, we are printing not prime. That's it. Now they are writing else, we are printing prime. Now if this is the case, it is not prime, we are exiting, we are printing not prime, done. Now in the second case, if I take something like 15, let's say, I will read the n as 15, I is initially 2, I is initially, let's say, 2. Now I is less than n, 15 is less than 2, correct. Now when 15 is less than 2, it checks if 15 is divisible by 2, 15 mod 2 or 15 by 2, it is not, 15 mod 2 is not 0. It's not equal to 0. So 15 is not divisible by 2. So that means it goes to else and it prints it is prime. So is it prime? Is 15 prime? It goes to else here and prints prime directly. But is 15 prime? It's not. What should I do? If 15 is not divisible by 2, what should I do? I should increase I directly and go back again and check. If 15 is not divisible by 2, I need to increase I and try 15 divisible by 3. But instead, since 15 is not divisible by 2, I immediately stated that since it is not divisible, it goes to else and it is printing prime. So where is the mistake in our case? We are printing prime the moment it is not divisible by 2. We are not even checking if it is divisible by 3 or not. So this line should be out of the while loop. else can be there. You can keep empty else also, not a problem. But this line should be outside. So the error occurs in line number 7. So that is your basic idea. You guys just need to know that. So let us go ahead from here. And now, is this clear as to why line 7 is where the error was? You should look at logic like this. See, those who have already done prime number program, you don't even need to check this twice. The moment you look at this program, you remember this. Those who have not done prime number program, you can just try taking a number. Those who have not done this program, try taking this number and try solving this. Now, I'm getting a message saying my audio is lagging for one of you. Is it happening for everyone? It's clear. Okay. So I think one of you may have slight network issues. Please do check it once. Please make sure you check that. So let us go back here and let us try to print. I think some of you have switched on the video, which may cause such issues. Make sure you have your video switched off, which always helps others. So let us go ahead to the next part. The next part we have here is let's assume we'll take one more interview question up now. Apart from this, now that I hope everyone is clear with this, now that everyone is clear with this, let me take a different pseudocode. For our first part, we will take only simple, easy pseudocodes that you may expect. Once it is done, we'll see what sort of questions you may expect from C++, then go to data structures. So let's go through some more of these. So let's say I take something like integer n and something like beginning and something like n. I will set beginning equals 5 and end equals 7 and sum equals, let's say, 0. Just check. See, I don't want to go through too much pseudocodes because they're way too easy. You, as long as you're able to understand basics of just programming and try to trace it out, pseudocode should not be difficult. It should be the easiest round for you, except when you data structures. So that is where we will try to explain more. So for this particular pseudocode, can you observe and guess what could be the output? Can you observe and guess what could be possibly the output? Take a minute, think through this and let me know. Not a problem. See, it is declared, sum is declared here as this equals 0. Okay, you can also declare it separately as sum. Okay, not a problem. So I'm getting different answers. I'm getting an answer as 18. I'm getting an answer as 5. I'm getting an answer as 3. I'm getting multiple answers. Right, so we're getting a lot of different answers, 18, 7, 5, and 3. And of course, we're getting one more answer now. new answer as 12. So a lot of different answers. So there is no majority. I'm getting now one more answer, 14 as well. So let us see which ones of you are right. So let us start going through this one step at a time. So first thing we're checking here. Let me first create a variable called n, one more called begin, one more called let's call end, and one more let's call it as sum. So this is what we have. These are what we have. N, begin, end, and sum. Now over here, initial value of n, we don't know. We don't know whatever it is. Let's leave it as it is. Begin, we know it is 5. End, we know it is 7. Sum, we know it is 0. These three we know. Now let us start with the condition. If begin greater than end, not true. So let us go to else. In else, let us start this for loop. Now in this for loop, n value is initially end. N value is initially end as in it should be 7. Now condition is n greater than equal to begin. It is greater than equal to begin, true. So after condition, the first thing you do is go within for loop. For those who don't know, remember, initialization executes first, then comes up condition. After initialization and condition is true, you're starting to execute these statements. After statements then goes to increment or decrement. So initialization, condition, if it is true, execute statements, then go to increment, decrement, then back to condition, statements, increment, decrement. So it's a loop between condition, statements, and increment, decrement until condition becomes false. So let us try solving this. Here, n equals end initially. Perfect. N greater than equal to begin, true. So let us execute this. First, sum equals sum plus n. Now, sum value is 0, sum plus n. So I'm going to make it as 7. That is done. After that, n equals n minus 1. N is going to reduce by 1 to 6. Then it goes back again here. N greater than equal to begin. It is still greater than or equal to begin. So let us do this again. Sum equals sum plus n. Sum is 7, n is 6. Add them, you're going to get 13. So we've already got 13. After this, let me write here. Okay, 7 plus 6, we get 13. After this, we are going for n equals n minus 1. So n becomes 5. Again, go back to conditions. N greater than equal to begin. It is still greater than or equal to begin. Correct. Right. Yeah. Sorry guys, I totally forgot. Yeah, you have twice the decrement here. Let me go back here at the start of the for loop. So first thing in the for loop, first statement you have is sum equals sum plus n. Guys, yeah, you have two decrements here. Let me do sum equals sum plus n to begin with. So first thing you're doing here is you're gonna increase it by n, 7, perfect. Now you're decreasing n by 1, it becomes 6. After this, you're going for decrement. After this, you're going for decrement. That means you're going to decrease it once by 7 to 6, then by 6 to 5 second time. Now here, when you go to n greater than equal to begin, condition is still true. 5 is greater than or equal to 5. Since it is equal to 5, it is still true. So it still goes within this. Execute sum equals sum plus n. Sum is 7, 7 plus 5, you're going to get it as 12. At Rohit's question, yes, a lot. So let's get back to this. Let's get back to last statement. Again, after sum equals sum plus n equals n minus 1. This is also a statement that's a part of for loop. So let us reduce this to 4. After reducing this to 4, you're going to go back here as n equals n minus 1 once more. That means it's going to reduce back to 3. Now, once it reduces down to 3, then when you check n greater than equal to begin, it's not true. 3 is not greater than equal to 5. So it ends the for loop there because this condition has now become false. It directly goes to the last part and prints the value of n. Look at the value of n here. That is 3. So output should be 3. It's not 12, it's not 18. You're not printing sum. Always first observe what are you printing. Make sure you observe what you're printing. So output here is 3. Is this clear to everyone? For those who are confused, observe this again. Please observe this again. For those who are still confused, because a few of you are, n is initially n. That means end is 7, n is initially 7. Done. You are checking n greater than equal to begin. 7 greater than equal to begin is true. Since it is true, you're going to first sum equals sum plus 1, then n equals n minus 1. These are the two statements we have. First sum equals sum plus 0 equals 0 plus 7. This becomes 7. Then n equals n minus 1. Let's reduce it by 1 to 6. Then let us go for increment or decrement, whatever you have here. That is again n equals n minus 1. That means it reduces down to 5. Now again let's check for condition. N greater than or equal to begin. It is still equal to begin. Since it is still equal, we are going to go within the for loop to execute the statements. First statement is sum equals sum plus n. So sum is 7. 7 plus n is 12. So you're going to get sum as 12. After doing this, next statement, n equals n minus 1. N gets reduced to 4. Then again you have go back to decrement. Again you have n equals n minus 1. So again this is going to become 3. Now 3 is not greater than equal to begin. It stops. For loop ends. If you go at the end, you're printing n value is 3. That is your whole output. Is this clear now? Now, I'm also getting a statement from some of you saying that there is an audio lag. Is that happening for everyone, or only if one or two are having an audio lag? Okay, some of you are getting no lag. Some of you are experiencing lag. Do one thing, guys. If any of you have switched on video, please make sure you switch it off so that there are no lag issues. If any of you are having video switched on, I think that may be interfering with one of your this particular part. I'm not sure. I'll check it once. I'll also check this once. So let's get back to this. Let's go for the next part. And it's not a case of VMware because I'm using Zoom outside it. So I don't think that should be a problem at all. That should not be a problem according to me. I don't think I can disable everyone's videos. They should be able to. So let us go ahead and go for the next question here. And since these are pretty easy ones, of course, some of us are going difficulty. See, at any pseudocode question, do not directly start thinking that yes, I can easily solve it and directly solve it. Go step by step and trace it line by line. Trace it line by line in as detailed as possible. Trace it line by line completely. If you find it difficult to keep variable values in your mind, take a paper, take a pen, start writing it separately to the right side or something like that, so that you can keep a copy of it. So that will at least help you remember something from a previous loop or something from a previous case. In test, see, if you're quick enough, you can trace it easy enough. If you're quick enough to solve this, you can easily trace this. But if you don't have practice in tracing, then it will always start to become difficult. So once you keep on tracing a few programs, you'll keep on being able to practice these. So since you want me to copy these, let me copy everything here. I will share all of these separately. And this one. So I'm just making sure that all of these are here. I don't think I've written the output for these. Let me also make sure to do that. If I'm not wrong, this first one was supposed to be 0. In that case, it's going to become output as 1. I will share all of these together with you. And this one, as we just tried, output was 3. And the next one, I think this was line 7. And here the output was, so these I will be sharing over with you guys by the end. Now, let's go for the next part. So for the next program, for the next question, let me write this in a slightly different way. Let me start with the next question. Okay, hold on guys. In that case, just hold on for just half a minute. So I think you should be able to hear me better now. There should not be any issue. I guess it should be pretty clear now. I hope it's pretty clear. So perfect. So let's go ahead with this. So in this case, all that I'm going to do here is I'm going to just use if printf off. Okay, not a problem. You can ask that doubt at the end. But at the end, I have to exit to create one more class by 8 o'clock, which is of DBMS. So if that is okay, you can ask that question by end of DBMS as well, if you're okay with it. All right, that is okay. Not a so let's go for this. Can you let me know what could possibly happen here? What I've got is I know C. All right. Now I'll tell you, everyone who says I know C, you don't know C. Anyone who says I know C, you don't know C. Because if I know C is the output, then you don't know C. So the output should be C question bank followed by I know C. This should be the exact output. To understand why this is the output, let us try figuring it out. Now, I can write anything within if condition that I want. This is something we know. We can write anything at all that we want within if condition. We can even write a printf statement. We can write whatever it is that we want. Now, if I execute this, whatever is in printf statement or whatever is within if condition, if I execute it, this C question bank will print first. So let me write it here. C question bank will print first. If I execute this, I'll just make a reminder of this. C question bank has already printed. So after this is printed, printf has to return some number back to if, because if condition works based on number. That means either 0 or non-zero. It works on these two cases. It works on either 0 or non-zero values. Now, in our case, when I have printf of C question bank, printf always returns number of characters in printf. It always returns how many characters are there in printf. In this printf, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13 characters in total. So this printf will return 13 to if. So it is same as if of 13. So yes, it does include blanks. If you have something like printf of a space b, let's assume this is one space, then number of characters is 3. Number of characters will always be 3. So in formatted printf, you can give me an example of the statement and I'll show you how exactly it works. You can provide one example for me. I'll explain how it works for that particular example, because for different numbers, different values, it may work differently. I'll explain that. I will go through that in the next example once I go through this. So here, this will return. Okay, I will make sure I'll go through that example up next. So here, this will return, let's say 10. Now, see, I think some of you may have, wait, let me just check if any of you have switched on your video by mistake. All right, just one was there. Okay, it's all switched off now. Perfect. What if printf is printing a number? I will go to that question. Yes, that is a nice question. I will go to that. So here, in our case, this is sub 13. So after 13, once you go to if of 13, this is true. This is not false. This is true. 13 is true. It goes within if and it prints I know C. So that is why I know C is printed at the end. This is your whole logic. So I hope this is clear. So let me know guys, are you all facing any network issues or how is it? Are you all facing network issues still? Okay, then be on hold for just a minute. I will just switch my network to a different network. I'll switch my network to a different. Okay, so getting back to this, is it audible? Is it better now? So whatever we have missed out, maybe 5 minutes or something like that. I know we have missed out a little. We will make sure we'll cover it up in tomorrow's classes, in the coming classes, because I understand that you don't want to miss out even a minute of the session. I'll make sure that we'll cover it up. So do not worry about that. So one of the question, so in this, all you need to know, a few of you still have doubts. So let me just explain this quickly. Whatever is within if condition should execute first. So that means this printf should execute. When printf has executed, it will print C question bank. After printf executes and prints C question bank, the next thing is this printf will return a number. Since there are 13 characters in it, it will return 13 back to if. Now, if of 13, 13 is non-zero. Since it is non-zero, it goes within if condition and prints I know C. That is why you get C question bank, I know C as the output. Exactly. So, okay, once it returns 13 back to if, see 13 is non-zero. If it returns 0, if of 0 means false, then it will go to else. So if it returns anything except 0, -1 or +1, it returns anything except 0, it will go within f. It returns 13 because there are 13 characters in this printer. That is why it will go to f and it will print this case. This is exactly what happens. Is this now clear? If this is clear, I will take a different case with instead of this. No, that can't be done at Kushal's question. So let me make one small change. Some of you asked a few different questions. I will try to go through all those questions one at a time up next, one at a time. Now, what happens if I do plus 13? Can you let me know what could possibly happen if I do plus 13 here? Before plus 13, let me execute it as it is, compile and execute it. It comes up to be C question bank I know C. Exactly correct. So for this program, your output is C question bank I know C. This is your output. Now, instead of this, let me make here plus 13 within double quotes or within brackets of printf. Within brackets of printf is what I'm saying, not outside the brackets of printf. So we're getting a lot of answers as errors. Let us execute. If I compile this, it's giving me a warning. Don't worry about warning. If I execute, it says I know C++. Only one of you got this answer correct, Shreyas. So let us see why exactly it prints like that. Let us try it out. If you execute this, you'll get the output here as C. Within printf, this is what you have. So I know we can't add number to any string within printf. Here's what happens. This is a string. Am I correct in saying that this is a string? I will ask you guys one question. Can I say that it's a string? Yes. So to this string, see how is string always identified by its starting address, correct? String is always identified by its starting address. If its starting address is 100, I am adding 13 to its starting address. So what will it become now? Added these will become 113. This whole thing will be replaced by address 113. Now 113 will be after question bank will be null character. Null character will be 113. Always remember, if you have in double quotes a plus 1, that means you have a string a followed by null character. A has some address, let's say 10, null character has address 11. When you do a plus 11, this string will get replaced by its starting address 10 and it will go to 11, starting address 11. It will go to this address and print that is null. Null means 0. Null always means 0. So that is why it becomes 0. Is this clear or do you want me to explain this once more by breaking it down even further? Do you want me to explain it in detail? Or is this clear? Okay, so observe this. Okay, see, whenever you add a number to a string in printer, in this case, instead of this, if you had a as a string, that means you know this string has only one character and then it has null character ahead of it. This is what it means. So if a has address 10, null character will have address 11. Is it clear till here? Is this completely clear to begin with? All right. Now that this is clear, let me go for the next part. If I add plus 1, we know that this is a string. String points to starting address. When I add plus 1, I will explain what is 13. Before going to 13, let me explain this. When I add plus 1 here, since the string is only one character, since I'm adding plus 1, it goes to its next address 11 and 11 points to null character. So a plus 1 will replace by null character. It will replace by null character because it's plus 1, it's null character. So that is what it replaces it. So same way in our case here, C question bank goes from address 0 to up to 12. It starts from C, it keeps on continuing until it reaches K. This is pretty much how it works. Now, when you add plus 13 here, and you pretty much add plus 13 in your program, you're going off all the way and going to its next address plus 13, which is null character. So this entirely becomes null character. So if it becomes null character, there's nothing to print. That's the end of it. If it's the end of it, that means there are zero characters to print. Since there are zero characters to print, 0 will be returned back to if. Since it is 0, it goes to else and prints I know C++. Is this clear? Is this clear now? If it is clear, I'll go for the next question type right after this. Got it. Yes. So now, yes, null character is used to indicate end of the string. Now, in this, instead of plus 13, if I did it as plus 1, from C it will go to Q. So from Q until you reach null character, you can print. If I make plus 1, it will skip the first character, print everything else, question bank. And how many characters are here now? It is 12. Since it is 12, it will return 12 to if, which will go to printf I know C. This is how it works. If you're adding 1, it will go to next character address. If you're adding 2, it will go to second character address, and so on. So let me add just 1 in our program and see what happens here. It should print question bank followed by I know C++. Sorry, I know C. Let me compile this. Let me execute this. It now prints question bank I know C. So I hope that is clear. Now, let me make one small change. Now that this is clear, let me make int a equals printf of %d comma 100. Now, if I print a, so I have one more question. What if you have printf of 0? This is a character, so it prints 0 and this will return 1. If you have if, it will become if of 1 itself. That means it is still true. So remember, if of printf of 0 is 1 itself. Know that. Now go back to this. What will be the output here? Can you observe this and let me know? Similar question. What do you think will happen here? Will it print 3? Will it print 1? Or will it print 2? 1 or 2 or 3? That is my question. So I'm getting every answer as 3. So let us try it out. Let me compile this, execute this. It is 1003. Remember, first this printf will execute. When you execute this printf, 100 will be printed on the screen. So 100 is printed on the screen. Now, how many characters are printed? 3 characters are printed. Since you're printing 3 characters, 100, it's gonna print 100 and return 3 to A. If it is returning 3 to A, when you're printing this, it now prints 3, it becomes 1003. Now, similar to this, if I do, now, will it become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Will it make it as 5, the value of A, or will the value of A be 2? My question, will the value of A be 5 or 2? I'll explain the previous one again with this example, so you'll understand both together. You'll be able to understand both together. I'll explain it with this. So everyone's saying it is 2. Let us try. It is 152. Absolutely correct. Here's how it works. See, observe this. First, calculate whatever is inside printf. 5 plus 7 plus 3. That is exactly 15. Once you get 15, that is what you're printing. So on the screen, you're printing 15. That means you're printing two characters. Remember, you're printing two characters. Since the output of this is 15, you're printing two characters here. Count 2 will be sent to A. Now, when I'm printing A here, A value will be 2. Up next, it will print 152. This is how it works. Now, are you able to understand this very clearly? Especially to Shreya, because you had a doubt in the previous case. Perfect. Now that you're able to understand this, let me now go ahead from this to something even more complicated from this, slightly even more complicated. And I will take it as, sorry, I am making these too easy, as in these questions are too easy, or like these questions were difficult and our classes are making easy. I did not understand clearly. Please rephrase so I can understand. Let me take scanf something like percentage %d comma, let's say A. Now, what would happen here given input is, let's say, 100? If input is 100, what will happen here? Okay, thanks for the nice words. I'm getting a lot of different answers. I'm getting runtime error, low scanf. I'm getting a lot of different answers. Okay, let me compile this first. When I compile, it's giving me a warning. That's all right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm supposed to read it as ampersand A. Remember, I'm supposed to read it as ampersand A. If I read it as A, it will always go for a segmentation part. I'm supposed to read in address of A. So let me make that one small change. Let me compile now and execute this. When I execute this, let's say I enter 100. My output is 11. Only one of you got this correct. Why is it 11? What happened to make it 11? To understand that, let us go back to the drawing board. See, you have your scanf here. You have percentage %d ampersand A. You're reading a number 100. Now, since you're reading number 100, scanf should return what to printf? Should scanf return 100 or should scanf return 3? We are reading a number of 3 digits and we are storing it in scanf. So should scanf return 100 or 3 back to printf? This is my first question. It should return neither 100 nor 3. It should return 1. Scanf should return 1 back to printf because it's not true or false. Scanf always returns number of arguments. If you had scan, let's assume scanf of, let's say, percentage d, comma, address of A, comma, let's say address of B. You're reading two values. If you're reading two values, that means you're reading two arguments. Then it will return 2. Scanf will always return number of arguments that you're reading. Number of arguments reading here is 2. So it's going to return 2. Then here I'm only returning one variable. So it's going to return 1. When it returns 1, printf is printing just 1. Since printf is printing just 1, it will return 1 back to A. So here's what happens. I'm storing 100 in A. But scanf will not return 100 or anything. Scanf will always return starting address. That is 1. Once scanf returns starting address, sorry, not starting address, sorry. Scanf returns number of arguments. Scanf returns number of arguments that is supposed to be 1. Number of arguments is 1. That is what is being returned back to percentage %d. So since 1 is being returned here, first 1 will be printed here in percentage %d. Since 1 is being returned here in printf, 1 will be printed here. Is this clear to begin with? My first question, is this clear? Yes, that is clear. Now that this is clear, now that this printf is printing 1, whatever that 1 is being printed, that will be returned back to A. Once 1 is returned back to A, you're now printing A, which is also 1. So 1 was already printed, now you're again printing 1. This is why your output is 11. So this is the program that prints 11. So I'm also sharing all of these later on. But going ahead with this, let me go for the next part. So the next part we have is, let's take a different question now. Now, how about now? Okay, so we're getting a lot of different answers. Let us try it out. See, one thing you need to know is when declaring, you have to always declare int a, int b, int c, or something like int a equals 50, comma b equals 50, comma c equals 50. Otherwise, if you do something like int a equals b equals c equals 50, b and c are not declared. B and c are not declared yet. So it gives me an error saying b and c are not declared. Now that we got to know in this case, while declaring, I get this error. Let me copy this as well for you. While declaring, we get error like b and c not declared. Now, if I do this one small, a equals 10, comma b equals 10, comma c equals 10. Now will it be 50, 50 and 50? Yes or no? You can let me know. Everyone is saying it will be 50, 50 and 50 now. Let us compile this. Let us execute this. It now becomes 50, 50 and 50. You can assign 50 to 3 values like this, but you cannot declare them like that. Once declared, you can assign it like this. You can assign a equals b equals c equals d equals 50. All 4 will become 50, but you cannot declare it like that. So this is one basic thing you just need to know as well. So going ahead with this now, let me ask you guys, see, these are some sort of programs that you may expect from basics. Now, like this, you may expect a lot of different programs as well, similar to these. Did I give an assignment in the morning class to you guys? Let me know if I've given an assignment in the morning class today. No, I haven't. All right. So let me give you a couple of assignments now in that case. Now, here, yes, to go through recursion strings and arrays, that's something I have told. Even now, I will tell you the same thing. Go through basics as much as possible, because pseudocode round, they're not looking for a person who's the best at programming. They're just looking for a person do who can know basics really well. So yes, I would share some pseudocode questions. I'm still collecting them and compiling them in a Word document. I will make sure I will share the entire document ahead by tomorrow, because I'm still collecting and compiling my own questions, a lot of them. So having them all together is going to help you out to work with. So I will make sure to share them. But before that, let me give you guys a couple of questions. So whatever we are doing right now are this year's questions as well. So by this, I'm just modifying them slightly so that if you get some changed questions, how that's going to be working. So I've shared all these questions over chat. You guys can go through them and try them out as well. Now, before going ahead, let me just do one small thing. Let me just give you guys a very small code here saying struct, let's say hello. Here I have char a int b float c, and let's say I have one more thing, union hell union, let's say instead of hello, let me just call it as bye. And here also I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Now my question to you is, when I print percentage p percentage p or percentage lu, size of, let me create this as struct hello h1 and union by b1. Now all that we are printing here is size of h1 and size of b1. So this is your simple question to try out. If you try to go through this, you will be able to understand how structures and unions work as well. So answer is not 7 and 4. Some of you said it's 7 and 4, but it's not 7 and 4. So it's something I want you all to try it out. It's not 9 and 4, it's not 7 and 1. Nope, it's not. So I will share this in a text document now for you. So I've shared the questions here. So the compiler I'm using is GCC compiler. Do not try this in Turbo C, try this in GCC. I will confirm regarding the recording, how you will be accessing and everything. I will confirm it. So assume that it is 16-bit. Assume that it is 16-bit, 32-bit. Try in however you want, but I will want the answer in 16-bit compiler tomorrow. So we'll start tomorrow with this, guys. We'll end here today, and we'll get started. We'll get to continue with the same tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a good time. I'll end the session here now. LU is long unsigned. Since we have one more session, I'll have to end this now. Any questions, I'll make sure to answer it tomorrow for sure. I'll log in a little early. I'll do that. Tomorrow 7 a.m. is not there. 7 a.m. classes are alternate days. Evening classes are every day. Morning alternate, evening every day. All right, guys.